them, and by that justification, every single person, you're just supposed to, everyone in a mask, you're just supposed to do whatever they say in regards to anything that they could, because they could possibly be an ICE agent or whatever they, it's like, it's just there the I am blown away at just how careless they were, and how you're exactly right, Prime. Like, we just went through January 6th about how they're memorializing these people. And on top of that, we had just a
On
couple
my
months
end.
ago went through this Charlie Kirk nonsense where, oh, he's a father. She's a mother. Oh, like, how dare you speak ill of the dead and all that kind of stuff, and like, he didn't do anything wrong, like, and it's like, she same day, within hours, we spent days talking about Charlie Kirk being like, okay, well, he did, like, go, talk to people on universities. He did bad things when you did it, but at least he engaged with people and started talking to them or something. The bare minimum, you know what I mean?
No, those exact same people who were criticizing the rhetoric around Charlie Kirk are now attacking this woman for being a lesbian.
Exactly,
Like, these
exactly,
people are horrible. They're
exactly.
horrible. And I think some people have been making this point, and I think it really does land. Um, is that like um when we're dealing with this point was like most eloquently made about like anti-Semites specifically, but it counts to just fascists in general, and that like they aren't trying to make good arguments. That's not like their goal. It's not important to them to make a good argument. They see what I mean. These most the thought leaders among the group, right, aren't idiots. The cult members might be idiots, but the thought leaders at the very much at least aren't idiots. They understand. They know they're full of crap. They get that, but it is amusing and useful to their political goals to have you, the other side, the interlocutor, right? You like have to like uh, fight them with like useful arguments and like put all this effort into debunking all and energy into debunking all their nonsense because they can just throw out another lie. It's so much easier for them to throw out another lie, right, than it is for you to like deliver any sort of truth, right? They can construct another reality and just have their people live in it. It's just that simple, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so let's not pretend that these people are actually trying to have any good faith conversation, right? There is no good faith conversation. We see the video, right? We've
Right.
had different news outlets have done like video analysis of like the slowed down footage, right? And no, he wasn't in front, right? Possibly maybe he got like winged, right? Like a little like a tap, a love tap from the car. But no, clearly he wasn't in danger, right? The thing that we all see is actually there, um, but it doesn't matter. The Trump administration will act the same. Like I haven't looked at the tweets myself, but like it's reported to me that on Twitter, JD Vance is saying that the so there's three gunshots, one into the window, two into the side, right to the side window, right. The windshield is the first one, right, the front of the car, and then two on the side. He's saying there was no shots into the side of the window,
What?
right?
Are
The side of the car.
you
Yeah,
serious?
it was just into the windshield. Um,
No way.
and like we can see the obvious. I gotta find these tweets, but apparently he's doing this on Twitter. Yeah, he's arguing with people on Twitter saying it's not the case. And if that's true, if he's saying that, right? Like that distills exactly what I'm trying to tell you here. And they don't have to make like arguments based on that. They'll just lie. And then afterwards, right, when it's not politically useful for them anymore, they'll just take it back, right? Remember, JD Vance last summer, right? JD Vance was pushing the Haitians eat cats and dogs lie, right? He was pushing that actively. Later on, it was revealed, obviously, it was a lie, right? Just a complete racist lie. He admitted it was a lie. And then his response was, oh, yes, but I was using that lie to like get to some essential truth. I was just as a conversation starter. It literally didn't matter to him. it didn't matter that he lied. It didn't matter he got caught, right? And then from there, he's like, yeah, I'll make something else up. I'll move on to something else that's more politically expedient for me. So let's not pretend these people like give a damn about any of this, right? They're just having fun. Sorry.
Yeah, there's no persuasion. Yeah, exactly. Rick from chat, wouldn't you agree that this wouldn't have happened without the Tim Walz fraud? You're onto something, Rick, but you're wrong, exactly wrong for the right reason. But basically, that was another xenophobic lie in a long line of lies that got us here, right? It's the caravan of migrants that 10 years ago that they started lying about, or the immigration numbers, the amount of people, the amount of crimes that they do, the amount of diseases that they carry. All these are just a long stream of lies that got us to here. Eating your cats and dogs. All of this is just xenophobic, racist rhetoric and to get us here. So yes, those videos, yeah, they did create a viral sensation enough so that Trump did put those troops into the state for that reason, but obviously there was no fraud. There was no systemic fraud. And if you actually cared about systemic fraud, you'd be looking at the companies, the billionaire companies that are taking stuff as opposed to childcare companies or nonprofits. It's so wild, man.
Yeah, and in that vein, going back to this aspect of lying, like yeah, all this rhetoric around the Minnesota fraud, which I'm sure fraud exists at some level. You know, there's always fraud, regardless, no matter what the program or institution is. But like that I don't know if you have watched the Nick Shirley video, but like that whole video was just like I don't know how anybody can call that journalism. I'm not a journalist, so I guess I'm not qualified to say. But it was really just, I view it as like a piece of propaganda. Just like showing up to daycares, asking, and it seems like showing up to daycares at sort of outside of opening hours and like asking sort of ridiculous questions, just to push like a narrative.
I found that it was like right up there. It's his last, well, second to the last tweet. Anyway, here's a tweet from JD Vance's account. These people aren't capable of not lying about this. Side window quotes. You can see the photos of the car with bullet holes. The shots came from the front of the car because that's where the officer was standing when he was hit by the car. He is allowed to discharge his weapon in self-defense.
So he did all 3 rounds right into the same hole. That's what.
I guess. Like, what are you talking
Expert
about?
marksman.
Incredible. He obviously wasn't getting hit that hard, or while he was getting hit. And I love like Trump's line about he's God, they're so shameless about their lies that he's lucky to be alive. Meanwhile, this guy, obviously with the cell phone footage that was released today, he he was not harmed whatsoever. He was walking. He wasn't even knocked down. He wasn't even knocked down. Like the idea that he was for fear for his life, like man, as a cyclist, like you were constantly doing battle with cars, right? You have constantly these things are kind of constantly coming after you. So the idea that this is the time that this guy with a car going so slow, and you can see like in the cell phone footage that came out today, completely locked. The guy is to the side, and then he steps a couple more steps towards the car, and he tries to like lean in. So he makes multiple decisions in order to get more into the car, more into like what's actually happening. He had every possibility to not step in. He knew that car was on. He was circling it. He was trying to antagonize them. He was trying to mess with them. Like
And
it's
go ahead.
wild. It's just like there's just so much video. Like I don't like how many more angles, how many more. It really is wild, man. It's like the dress or something. Like how many things that you can, how many colors you can see.
And I don't know for sure. I wish we had this timeline that we could like look into, but I'm reasonably sure that if the officer, instead of like who they were, this was like a woman or like especially like a woman of color, they'd just be screaming like DEI and incompetence. Like
Yeah.
this is clearly an incompetent officer, and they should never have been hired to begin with. But since it's not that demographic, then yeah, MAGA seems to be all on the side, at least from what I've seen. MAGA is strongly supportive of the ICE officer. Uh, but at least to me, again, I'm not qualified to comment, but there seems like a lot of incompetence playing out there, based off of at least what I've glanced into in terms of like how to handle someone like in a car and like whatnot. But again, I'm hoping there's some sort of an investigation. But like, yeah,
Well, I mean,
I
they're
don't.
stopping the investigation. The FBI is stopping the state police from doing any type of investigation. Mark from chat, more TikTok police that know more than the law. Okay, bud. We can literally look at the justice.gov website to see like what they put out on how they should be acting. We can look at the Sixth Amendment that these people should absolutely have a trial. Even if I would give you all the presuppositions that you want, that she was there to menacingly disrupt what they were doing. She wasn't. I'm going to give you that she was trying to flee the scene, that she was trying to even hit the guy. We can give you everything. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, every single person in the United States, citizen or not, is due a process in which they are charged within the law. So that is the Sixth Amendment, man. That is what we have as a Constitution. The idea that this guy can extrajudiciously just be judge, jury, and executioner on whatever he perceives to be a slight to his well-being is antithetical to what we stand for as a country and as a constitution. Like, this is what separated us out from the kings that were just slapping charges on people, and we had no idea what we were being charged with. Now we see ourselves in a police state where everyone is going to be imperfect, man. You are never going to be able to be a perfect person inside of a police state. They will always be able to come after you. They will always be able to push you. And this is, I mean, this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene saw. Right within 2 weeks, she was like, "I'm out of here. This is insane." So, the pressure. You think, Mark from chat, you think that you're in with the cool kids. That's why you think that this is okay. But guess what, man? You're not going to be. At some point, you're gonna go against this cult, and it's going to be. You'll see.
And going back, if I remember correctly, I find it again so interesting that I think during one of the initial press conferences when JD Vance was giving his comments, I think he was mentioning the fact that this officer, they had like a previous altercation with like a vehicle, and like they were dragged along during like another whatever like arrest, and saying like to have compassion, as in like potentially like the response of this officer in this situation is like is, let's say, affected by their traumatic experiences with past vehicle incidences, and it's like, well,
PTSD, Corey, so much.
but now the right is all about compassion and being like empathetic, right? Should that, if anything, that's that whatever toxic empathy, or like but all that to say, I find it interesting that they want the selective empathy of like, keep in mind this officer has some previous traumatic experiences, even though from what I gather, at least in my experience, not that this is necessarily represents all of the right, but like the right is, when the left talks about traumatic experiences, they just get labeled by snowflakes by the right. But then in this case here, we have to be mindful of this officer's past traumatic experiences. I just find the selective empathy very interesting or telling.
It's like, we know exactly how Republicans act, right, in regards to Walmart. Walmart was doing a renovation in Texas. So Texas wide, they had these constructions in all the Walmart parking lots, and the Republicans thought of a conspiracy that the Obama administration was trying to, with underground tunnels between all the Walmarts, trying to invade and take over the state of Texas. This is called Jade Helm. Check it out. This exists. They got so triggered by construction in Walmart parking lots that they thought that the federal government was going to take over their state. That is the level that they are paranoid on this stuff, and yet it's so obvious in this case that even this person, even like just even a day of being like, wow, what a tragic loss that is awful. If you're a Republican, you should be saying, I'll give you your talking points, guys. Wow, I really I support ICE and what they're doing with immigration, and this is really going to deter the mission statement of ICE. And wow, like this is tragic that we lost that mother. That's awful. She's an American citizen. We shouldn't be deporting American citizens. We shouldn't be killing American citizens. Like, how hard is that? Like how hard is it to spend a day of just dignity as a human being, recognizing that this isn't a mother, a person, a loved one? Like, how can we? How can we not even get a 24 hours of compassion from these people, supposed Christians, by the way?
True. True.
Gosh,
Very true.
wild, man.
Well, I hope for some sort of, even though I should probably not have this expectation, but I think no matter what, there's not going to be a satisfactory conclusion to this. Since even if there is an investigation, I would question its authenticity, but maybe I shouldn't be so skeptical. But I hope there is some sort of.
Why wouldn't you be so skeptical? Come on, let's be serious here. Like, we have a Trump administration that, like, again, well, Corey and I were talking about this at the very start. Trump has been saying, right? Hey, this man was hit. He was run over by the car. He was run over. No, more than even the victim. No, but that, like, literally, like, not like as like a hyperbole, right? He, in his mind, believed that the officer was like laid out, run over, and like he was in a interview with the New York Times, like a wide-ranging interview with the New York Times, and he was telling the reporter, "No, you're wrong." The reporter was trying to correct them. That's clearly not what happened, right? No, you're wrong. And then Trump had his aide bring up the video. He's like, "Bring a computer here, right? Let's watch the video." And he sees the video, and then he goes like, well, when I look at it, I don't like what I see. Well, yeah, it's bad. It's really tough to look at. He wouldn't address it. Clearly, he saw the video evidence before, right in front of his face, that he couldn't deny it at that moment, right? But then, what was he operating on previously? Like, what was he? What did he think happened? Did he actually not see what are the options here? Did he not actually see the video, right? Or was it members of the administration that just lied to him, right? And then he lied to the public, saying that he saw the video, or that he did see the video, and then he transformed into his mind, right? Like, if this had happened a year ago under Biden, right? The right would have correctly assumed, right, that Biden was senile. They would have correctly assumed that. But now that it happens under Trump, huh? There's nothing to look at here. There's nothing. There's nothing to dig deeper. He literally has like something that is categorically wrong from all the videos. Categorically wrong. And he thought it he absolutely thought this is reality. And he had to be corrected with video evidence. He thought he was so right. That's why he had the video evidence brought in, right? He's like, I'm going to show you, New York Times reporter, that you don't know what you're talking about. Clearly, this officer was run over. Wow, this is what you're working with here, right? Like, and the cult, the MAGA cult, right? They just can't see it. They edit this out of their mind. Clearly, it must be some other explanation, right? Maybe it was a deep state that put something in his drink that made him hallucinate. This is the gymnastics they have to go through to constantly make excuses for this guy. Amazing.
It's very embarrassing.
And even in the multiple footage, like you see the officer like walking around casually just fine after the incident. So
yeah. Yeah, New York Times has the best, like, the synced up footage from the camera angles that I saw.
Yeah, I saw that, about that 4 minutes of video, and yeah, the synced up of like there's some grainy pixelated video showing that it looks like he's getting hit, but then as you said, like when they sync it up,
I mean, and he's literally like he goes he goes closer. He literally leans in, so his body is elongated, so it looks like he's going to the side in order to do that. It's like it's it's so obvious. I don't know.
And also
It
just the fact that after he shoots her, at least in my mind, again, I understand these are heated moments, but like the fact that he, calls her, after shooting her, in my
yes.
mind, there's clear anger there.
They don't allow any. How do they not allow any type of medical personnel? That just blows my mind. That is so, it's so callous. It's so obvious that they're, I mean, and I saw this video and this guy was so right. Like how are the Trump? I'm sorry. How are the ICE terrorists held to a lesser standard than than he was as a soldier in Afghanistan? He was literally, even when they had civilians strapped with IEDs to their chests and their entire car, surrounded with IEDs trying to come at them, okay? Trying to come at the the uh the soldiers who are in a war zone and have seen this stuff dozens and dozens of times, so they know that there's a good chance that this is actually real and this is a real threat. Okay, they're coming at them, and there was like 5 stages that he was talking about that they had to disable. They had to shoot out the tires, they had to shoot out the engine block, and even then, like, they had to disable the car that however they could, and even then, even if the civilian was coming after them, they still couldn't take out the civilians. They had to incapacitate the civilians. They had to. There's all these steps that they had to take in order to deal with someone in an active war zone. But yet, the people, Republicans, MAGA, cannot understand this. They can't. They see their own citizens, get any type of due process.
The rules of engagement, yeah, of military members deployed abroad are extremely strict, is what you're referring to.
Mhm.
Not so much for our police officers, though. Not so much for the ones that actually like the violence that they can, the all the ways that they can engage us, right, is greater than they can engage people in a actual literal war zone. So, but again, like when we are arguing with these people, like we're sorry, I want to differentiate here, right? There are people who like are clearly there to propagandize, right? And then there are people who've been propagandized. Like there are individuals who like I mean, they spend a lot of time watching Fox News or some other conservative media. I know there's a bigger universe than Fox News, right? But some other conservative media that happens to be dishonest. There are some honest conservatives out there. They exist. But like you're watching media that like tells you not to believe your lying eyes, right? And JD Vance, like it's like unbelievable. That quote is unbelievable.
Mhm.
JD Vance says he didn't fire into the side of the window. We see it in the tape. It's clear as day. He fired into the side window, right? And for people to believe that, to actually believe it, like the work you have to do to make to align yourself, right, to break your mind and align it around that lie, and a lie that I'm telling you right now he's going to drop the moment if it's politically convenient. And
Mhm.
then for you to continue to align with this individual, right, then you have to drop it when he says something, when JD Vance later on says the complete opposite, when he says the complete opposite of this, you're gonna have to do another letter, mental gymnastics to fit yourself in that box. And at some point, doesn't it get exhausting? Isn't it better to actually deal with reality at some point in time?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
That's the whole thing right now. They're excited. The new viral trend in MAGA is we're dropping MAGA, guys. We're no longer MAGA. We're FAFO.
Mm.
Fuck around, find out. They're so
Oh,
excited about it. They're so excited. So it's like it is. I it's the cheering and the especially when they were like trying to come after people's jobs for like repeating Charlie Kirk quotes.
literally just repeating the lines that Charlie
Yeah,
Kirk said is why
yeah,
they were trying to get people fired.
exactly.
Amazing, amazing. Like this. I mean, we share this country with a section of lunatics, right? Like there's a portion of this country that are literally the lunatics
Mhm.
that you can't engage with. Now, I'm not saying this for all the right. I absolutely not saying that. In fact, I engage with the right all the time. I engage with conservatives on a regular basis. I enjoy engaging with conservatives. I'm saying there's a portion of the right that's literally just in another universe, in a different factual universe. And
Mhm.
so, like, when we interact with each other in these moments, right, in these moments of friction, then like it's like we're watching two different movies. We're watching two different events play out, and we think the other one's an idiot because they can't like see the facts in front of our faces. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just so frustrating.
Here's a question from chat. At what point is it acceptable to prevent police or ICE from doing their jobs? So, I mean, this is two different things, right? So, police and the federal agents are two completely different forces. ICE have jurisdiction in order for warrants that they're serving. That's it. That's the only jurisdiction that they have. They're serving that warrant to get that person and bring them to court. That's it. So, police are held accountable for true through I mean, the internal review process, and more broadly through elections and through sheriffs and that kind of thing, and through the Justice Department when it's actual murder. But you know, if they are doing illegal acts, then nonviolently resisting and protesting is absolutely warranted and needed. I mean, there's like a great video of a guy like showing up, these two ice guys just show up in a McDonald's, and they're trying to go for the back of the place, and he just stands there and says, "Get out. What are you guys here doing here? This is a private company. You're not supposed to be here. Get out. Get out." And then he stands in front of um the back
Mm.
door, and then he says, they said, we want to talk to the manager, we want to talk to the owner. He goes, "I'm in charge here." And they all just kind of like stand there and look at him. And it's like, anything that you can do non-violently to resist, I don't think that I wouldn't show aggression to them, because obviously they are, because of this nonsense. But like, this is the world that we live in, though. This is the frustration where it's like that is the lawful and measured response in response to this stuff. But what would a Republican tell you if you said that, right? They would say, "Don't mess with me, or you get the business side of my 22." And this is what makes me so mad, is because this is why, like, and you hear about this with the Second Amendment stuff, and "Don't come for my Second Amendment over my cold dead hands" kind of thing. And yet here the Democrats again have to be as salient and measured as possible, and it's so infuriating to me.
I feel slightly different here. Um, and I mean, I agree with most of your sentiment there, but in terms of dealing with ICE and dealing with like police in general, especially when you can identify misconduct. But let's focus on ICE for now. Um, as citizenry, as responsible citizenry, I think it's our job to be recording law enforcement agents. I think it's our job to like when we see things like that, like thankfully there was recordings of this moment in time, because they are like moments later Chrissy Nome was out there lying, just like straight up lying, saying that this woman attacked these officers. They were out there digging themselves out of the snow, and then she showed up and she tried to ram them with a car, just like absolute lie. And
Not
that's all
even
we would have had.
close to like any that had any relation to like what was going on. Just like
I
a
think Chrissy
story.
Nome was the one who said like he was dragged. The
Yeah.
officer, yeah, that he was dragged. Again, you can see the tapes. Look back and see her statements on this, and then look at the tape. Look at the video. Okay, so anyway, I think one to deal with exactly these moments, right? We absolutely need to be filming them, but two, and this is especially true if you have the privilege of being able to do this. Not everyone does. Not everyone does, right? But like, ICE needs to be confronted. People need ICE needs to, and by that, I'm very careful by what I mean by that. What I mean is that people need to be out there shaming ICE. We need to make this a completely socially unacceptable thing to be doing there. They need to go out there every day, right, and be facing like jeers, insults. They need their jobs to be miserable. We
Mhm.
can't let people think that this is some honorable duty that they're doing, right? This is the Gestapo. Now, I'm not saying interfere with your uh, business, like the federal business. You can't do that, or you'll be arrested if you do that, right?
Agree.
I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not asking anyone to do anything actually, right? I'm just saying if you have the privilege, if and not again, not everyone does. Like if you, for instance, if your immigration situation isn't solid, right? If you're not a citizen yourself, if you have maybe some sort of criminal record in the past, and maybe you feel unsafe like approaching officers. Like not everyone can. I'm not encouraging you to go like Rambo out there. Absolutely not.
Mm.
But if you can, yeah, right. Talk about their mothers, right? Like, talk about their penises, right? Like do
Or lack
anything you
thereof.
can,
No.
or lack thereof, right? These aren't men. Like watch these guys, right? Watch these guys, especially this guy of Jonathan Ross, I believe is his name. The murderer in this case, I believe his name is Jonathan Ross. Like watch these guys. They're playing dress up. This is what they're doing. They're playing dress up. They want to pretend like they're big tough soldiers, right? They've been dreaming about this all their lives. They've been had this
Hiding their
idea
faces, no less.
that while hiding their faces because they're goddamn cowards. They're
Yep.
goddamn cowards. But
Exactly.
anyway, yeah, they for years these guys have grown up thinking like they're going to be some badass, right? They're going to protect their nation. They're going to go off to war. Most of them are too cowardly. I'm just trying to watch my language on TikTok, right? Cowardly to go out to actual war zone. But you see how they operate. They're in an environment, not when they're like being faced with like an enemy, an armed combatants approaching them, right? But they are armed in the way that you would be if that was the case, right? They are facing the citizenry as if they are an armed combatant. They're having fun. They're playing dress up. These are little boys playing dress up. Let them know that.
Mm.
Let them know that, right? No, you're not the tough guy. No, you're not the hero that you always dreamed of. You're a goddamn loser. You're a goddamn loser. They have to feel it. And again, if you have the ability to do that, I'm not asking anyone because I know people got their situations, right? But if you can, let them know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with all that.
Absolutely.
Um. I guess also, yeah, apparently, I don't, this is unconfirmed, but I have heard this from multiple sources that this guy is actually married to an immigrant.
That a woman from the Philippines, I've heard that as
Yes.
well. I don't know the situation. We need more information on that one before I go off. But he seems like the type of guy. He seems like. Oh, sorry. I should. I don't know anything about this guy, right? Other than he's a murderer, right? Other than the fact that he's a murderer. But I would. I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a passport bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like I wouldn't be surprised. This guy fits within as I guess of a type of person. He'd be a passport bro. But leave
Inside
alone. I don't know.
losers. That's what they look like, man. It's
Yeah.
just all of them, man. They're all, whenever
I would
they
not be shocked by that finding if that's true. If that
Yeah.
turns out to be true, it would not shock
Yeah.
me.
It is exhausting. I guess we can go down like the news of the week too, if you guys wanted to move on or talk about.
If anyone wants to talk, because we have some conservatives who had an issue with us, I want to give them the opportunity to jump in. Let them know, hey, you can join in to the call, right, and have a conversation with us.
Yeah. Please, guys. Y'all put the sign up for opposition. Here we go. I'll put it up.
I mean, if you have proof, like we will look at the proof. I will pull it up on my end, right? I'll pull it up on my end, and I'll look at your proof. If you have something, maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm wrong. this is your opportunity to prove it. And we will, in case you feel otherwise, right? We will absolutely give you a space to make your case, right? We want to hear what you have to say. If not, though, right, you can hide behind your keyboard. But I shouldn't antagonize. I don't want to antagonize. Right? But
No, they want to be like the
ice
ICE officers hiding their faces. You can't.
But maybe like an officer. Yep. Yeah. Your heroes, right? The ones too cowardly to show their faces. They're afraid of these guys. These tough guys are afraid of a bunch of like pansy, limp-wristed, soy-eating liberals, right? Finding out who they are, right? The tough guys.
Yeah, I have no problem saying I eat a lot of soy. Okay, as someone who's essentially vegan, I consume a lot of soy. Okay,
an actual soy boy, and they're afraid of Corey. They're like, and Corey's actually pretty well built. Actually, you probably kick their ass.
Don't give away the secret. Don't give.
So maybe they might be the soy. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, we'd love to talk to you. So now's your opportunity. Yeah, and we can move on to anything else if you want. I don't mind.
There's definitely lots to talk about.
Dad, you're invited in. Dad, our dad, Daddy,
Zaddy.
Oh no, please, please no. Oh God.
I invited him. We'll see.
We'll give it a moment.
Could you invite me too in the thing at my
yeah. I think I invited you and it fell out.
Yeah, my phone is just, oh my God. All right, well, I won't bore you with that. But anyway. So maybe RFK with the vaccine situation.
Yeah. I guess to keep it on to Trump just for the last second. Okay. The nonsense with Greenland. I am like, it's again like he in his New York Times interview, he said, "What is stopping you from invading Greenland and taking it?" And he said, "It's only my own morals. That's the only thing that stops me. My own." So he, in his mind, he has international free reign to do whatever he wants to any country in the world.
I mean, that's clearly his mentality, obviously, as we saw, recently.
Sorry, I'm gonna have a bit of contrarian opinion here, right? But he's correct. There is nothing else stopping him, right? There's nothing like international law doesn't really has no teeth. If there's no one's going to enforce it. The Europeans aren't going to enforce it. They're terrified of losing American protection, right? They want to be under the American military umbrella, because they're afraid of the Russian war machine, and also they benefit from being under the American umbrella because America will spend the money on its military while they don't. They spend their money on their social programs, right? Which I love their social programs, but like it'd be a lot harder to fund if they actually had to maintain a commensurate military with their position. So like they desperately want the NATO alliance to continue as is. So they're not going to do it, right? Yeah. China doesn't want to come a direct conflict, not over this, right? That's they're looking maybe for a conflict over Taiwan, but not certainly over this. They're not going to fight over Greenland. They're not going to fight over Venezuela. And the Russians, they have relations with Venezuela along with China, but again, like, is this going to be the thing that you fight America over? No, right? And so there's no one to stop it, to actually enforce American law, right? And certainly our Congress won't enforce the laws, our domestic laws, right, in terms of warfare or anything like that. If that's not going to happen, then Trump is correct when he says the only thing stopping him is his own morality. That's a true statement.
I mean, by default, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes, we did have someone join. I'm not a libtard. How's it going, dude?
Welcome.
Welcome. You can. I muted.
Thank you for the self ID. Appreciate it. We like self ID.
Yeah.
Saying your pronouns, I appreciate it. Oh, too, Rocky. If you could, if this guy doesn't unmute, dude, I'd love for you to come in too. Rocky would actually be a good person. What's up, dude?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can.
I'm Canadian, and
so am I. Welcome.
I'm watching from an impartial perspective with all of what's going on around the world these days. And I don't say I'm liberal. I don't say I'm conservative. I'm more common sense. And I'm literally blown away by the left's hypocrisy. It happens in Canada as well. And just their full-on push for socialist communist ways, which make no sense. And
Do
I
you have
think
some examples, perhaps?
well, let's look at Canada. Like it's just one
Maybe
agenda after
slightly
another.
more specific. Just your
Well,
examples.
Corey, if you didn't hear them, Corey is actually Canadian. So
Right. So you don't think Trudeau and Carney's whole agendas are socialist based or World Economic Forum based, and they're basically destroying Canada? You don't believe that?
Well, let's say if we're
It's all
using
done by design.
so if we're using the
Like,
term socialist to
least
means like seizing the means of production, then I would disagree with that assessment. I can concede that, you know, from some lens,
What does Canada produce? What does Canada produce? Zero. Nothing.
what?
Every
we
job.
don't produce any auto parts in Ontario or lumber or
Not-
aluminum.
Not for long. Not for long, because Trump's.
Wait, no. So you said, well, are you saying we know as of now today? Are you saying we produce nothing now, or we will produce nothing?
Okay, so what are you saying? We make one thing.
No, I said auto parts.
We're-
We supply lumber. We supply
One thing.
aluminum.
We have tons of oil, but what do we do with it? We don't give it to anybody else. They're stopping.
Yeah, we do.
We give it to the
Yeah.
United States.
Come on, think about what Carney's doing. He's got a green initiative. He's trying to destroy the oil industry. Everything's going green because of the BS climate change agenda. And don't start.
Oh,
telling
wait,
me
okay,
to do
sure.
that.
I'll even concede climate change agenda. Are you saying that climate change agenda is synonymous with socialist?
Well, it's part of it because that agenda they're pushing is taxing the Canadian to death. I pay probably upwards of 60 to 70% of my income to taxes. That is unbelievable. And what that is, what
I don't think
that
you're the only
is,
one.
A design that is, yeah, and it's done by design to get rid of the middle class, make us all dependent on the government, and they're already pushing their basic income, universal basic income, make us all poor and not want to work. So we have to rely on the government. That's what a socialism is.
So this is what I've
In Canada and been pushing it for 10 years under Trudeau, and now Carney stepped in to finish the job. He's going
So
to the World Economic Forum this week, I believe, to basically sell it out again.
I did a just a cursory.
In the States,
I
it's
did.
standing up for America.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
So indoctrinated.
Hello.
Media,
Hello. Hi.
everything.
Can you hear me?
Are we here for a
Can you
conversation,
hear
or
me?
you here for
We're
Yeah,
on that
well,
side.
I-
soliloquy?
Hey, I'm trying to engage with you,
He
sir.
stopped him. He stepped away from the
Sir,
UN. He stepped
Sir,
away.
hello. I'm not sure if you, I don't know if you
He's
can hear
stopping
me. Sir, I'm
socialism.
trying-
communism.
Can you
I'm
hear
trying
us?
to engage
Can
with
you
you.
hear us at all?
I'm trying
Lives
to
Matter
engage.
and all those other
Sorry,
organizations.
Hello?
if you can mute this guy.
Everything.
I don't know what's going on.
Do you have any audio whatsoever?
All these people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I guess can you guys not hear? Can he not hear? Can you guys not hear?
Yeah. Testing. Make sure. That
I can hear him. I hear a lot of him, and I can hear everyone else. I'm hoping he.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Prime. Go ahead.
Okay. To our guest, right?
Can you unmute him and see if he's still talking? If he's still talking, then I see we can't hear us.
No, I see you guys. I mean, I'm looking at the audio peaks, and it's coming through.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Unmute him to see if he's still talking.
It'd be hilarious if he's. But then now he can't hear us. Then.
Okay, I can invite him to unmute. I'm inviting him to unmute.
Yeah.
I'm not. Can you hear Prime? Is that?
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Sorry, guys. I'm cutting in and out.
No problem. Can you hear me? Hello.
Oh.
Guest, can you hear me?
Darn it.
Maybe you can't. You might not actually honestly being able to hear us, which is unfortunate.
Testing. Can you hear us, or is it just Prime? I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah.
Well, then I understand.
Yeah. Maybe
monologue.
we should drop him then. Yeah, I don't blame him for the monologue if he can't actually hear us. We might have to move on to someone else.
I could hear his. I could hear you in the echo. of the car. So he's definitely
That's
come.
true. I did hear that as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, Rocky's been around. So this is.
I think Rocky has come on before when we've been here as well. I could be mistaken. Maybe I just misremember.
Rocky, can you hear our friends, the Prime and Corey?
Testing.
Yeah, on top. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay. All right,
Welcome.
man. How's it going?
Hello. Another day, another dollar. Huh?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's the way it's been for a while. Oh
So
man.
did you have anything to say to us?
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Okay.
I think the answer is no. Then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were talking about the Greenland situation. Well, on that, I'll keep going then. So my thoughts on the Greenland. So like I said previously, like Trump, I think it's correct to say that the only thing keeping him from taking Greenland is his own morality, militarily, right? However, I'm also going to give him credit for one other thing. He's been tossing around this idea of like giving everyone in Greenland like 100K, right? Like to like literally buy out Greenland, and like Greenland only has just below 60,000 individuals, people living there, right? It's extremely empty, like Canada, so something to keep in mind. So he's like been tossing this around many times, like, hey, maybe I could just like literally buy them out. Maybe they'll like, I don't know, take a boat afterwards or something to decide they want to join the U.S. to get the money. The price tag for that would be $6 billion. Like if he actually managed to do that, if he actually put that proposal out there and he managed to do that, I think that'd be the deal of the century. Actually, that's like Greenland for $6 billion. That's like 3 fighter jets. That's like 3 fighter jets. Like that's something also like a crap load of money. That's a steal. That's a steal. And to do it peacefully, right? Like the people of Greenland talk about all the time how they want to break away from Denmark, which they're a semi-autonomous region of Denmark. And so like they want to leave. Now they've also said they don't want to be part of America as well, right?
Yeah, leaving Denmark is different than joining the United States.
Exactly. Yes. But however, they also don't currently have the option of getting 100,000 American dollars into their bank accounts like immediately if they cast a yes vote, right? Yeah, that's also not in front of them currently. So if that was the case, right, and again they would have to agree. But if they did agree, they consented, they got the money, right? $6 billion, that's a steal. And I would give them a ton of credit. Just like our how we bought Alaska from the Russians, right? That was a fantastic deal. This is a fantastic deal.
Unbelievable. There's no way this is real. This is it. The 1867 purchase of Alaska for $7.2 million, 2 cents per acre, is worth approximately 130 million to 150 million in today's money, depending on the inflation calculator used. That is wild. $150 million for all of Alaska. That has to be one of the worst decisions that Alaska
deal of the century. It's a territory bigger than Texas, right? Like, and that's how cheaply we got it. This would be incredibly cheap. I'm not sure how big the land mass of Greenland is. It's stretched out on the map, so it's not as big as it looks.
And how much is land and how much is ice that's just going to melt away?
That's a good point. But that's actually important though, right? Because the ice is melting. The last thing I'll say, the ice is melting, and that's opening up a new pathways, right? The Arctic Circle is melting because of global warming, and that's opening up new pathways and new places to like drill for oil and other natural resources. And so that's a big thing. So as Iceland melts, and like all the other terrifying things happen because of that, still there'll be more resources to be gained. So yes, $6 billion today would be a steal, and I would support Donald Trump if he did that. Actually,
Rocky, we were talking about how like Trump keeps pushing for Greenland, and like whether or not like he's using force for that or not. And he like the New York Times asked him like, what is stopping you from invading Greenland? And he basically just said, me and my morals, that's it.
See, this is stuff. This is stuff that's in, that goes to documents that are top secret. So we know some of the details, but we don't know all the details on why they want to do this. So, but it has to do with China. It has to do with Russia,
Mhm.
strategy wise, in case there ever is, any confrontations. So I think you know, yeah, you want to buy them out, go ahead. And if you move to Alaska, and you get a driver's license over there, I think you get paid thousand so much money.
I believe they have some UBI or some version of UBI up in Alaska.
Oh yeah, it's for
Yeah,
the
they do
oil
that.
profits. Yeah, anything over a
Yeah, they
certain
get.
amount is given. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like
I
a,
like
a
that. I
dividend or
was,
something.
after what I've been through after 9/11, when I lived in 5 states in 3 years, and I wish I could have got money from the state,
Dude, Ruben makes a great
to
point
move
in
there.
chat. Like we already have like a military presence in Greenland. We have the ability to just expand there. So like the national defense reason that he stipulates, like for Russia and China, is kind of like moot, isn't it? Like, and
Well,
I think it's pretty obvious that it's about the rare earth minerals. Absolutely. And someone said that in chat. I totally agree. I mean, I think this is 100% the heavy, dense crude in Venezuela and the rare earth minerals in Greenland. These are both intimately tied to the need for these AI data centers and the future of the United States as like this manufacturing warehouse in their mind.
mhm.
And I don't disagree with Prime's premise. The only thing that I would say is like, if I were a Greenlander, okay, I would only vote to the United States until that 100K is like in my bank account and it's secure. I would not rely on some sort of honor system. Like, yes, if we vote to join the United States, then I'll get the 100K. I would have no expectation. And also, as a Canadian, if like a similar, and let's just say Trump has obviously put it out there in terms of like Canada becoming the 51st state, whatever that means or how that would happen. But if it was a similar proposal of like buying Canadians off, obviously much higher price tag. But like, let's just say, I can't imagine, and this is just for me personally, but I think most Canadians are pretty averse to joining the United States. I'm sure there's a price, but I think that would be a pretty high price. Like I would have a price, but that would be just so astronomically high that like it would be like I'm thinking something ridiculous like the billions of dollars. I have no desire whatsoever to join the United States.
Yeah,
We got enough. We got enough problem with 50 states. I don't agree with 51st states.
Yeah, I don't think that it would ever. I don't think that it actually Denmark would ever agree to it. I don't think that Greenland would ever agree to it. So we are kind of like, but in some fanciful world where they both decide to sell and and there's no problems there, then I agree that it would be a very cheap purchase for $6 billion. But I don't know if that would ever happen. But yeah, it is I don't the ways that we pontificate and talk about these crazy insane thoughts that Trump has, and we talk about them, he just says them in kind of like floats them as child balloons, and then like we like pontificate about it whether or not he could do it, but it's never like whether or not he should do it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, but
it's so
you
frustrating.
got to realize this is the government, and this is something they've been doing since World War II. They still have embassies in countries where the war's over. Why are we there? So
But
this is
he's
just an
gonna do
ongoing.
Venezuela now for years. He even said in the New York Times interview that the occupation of Venezuela by the United States is going to be years long. Like this is Iraq 2.0, brother.
That's something I don't know, dude. That's just it's going to take time to make it right, and actually profit to America. It's going to take at least 2 or 3 years. It's not going to happen overnight.
Well, they're not going to just oil. Companies are going to go in there and they're going to create their oil rigs in 2 or 3 years. They're not going to leave, and they're going to need like to have and make sure that they're not nationalized again.
Well, you got to be pissed at China and freaking Russia, man. They're part of the reason we're in this mess today of our economy.
What?
Jeez.
How? What are you talking about?
because of Putin when he started the war in Ukraine. That's when the prices on everything just, went up like never before. Before that, they were going up on everything, but it was a gradual rise, not like a bang, 50% here, 50% on my goddamn car battery that I paid, 125 back in 2018. Now, last year, or I paid for a battery a year and a half ago. I paid what? I had to pay 225. That's almost 100% increase.
Exactly. That's right. It's the pandemic, dude. It didn't have to do with the
No,
invasion
see,
of Georgia
that's
or Crimea. Prime, did
see,
you
here we go
want to
again.
say
See,
something here?
no,
Oh, I was just like actually looking into the size of Greenland, and it is bigger than Alaska by 200,000.
it is.
It's like a like 30% bigger than Alaska. Um,
I didn't know.
so this is so again, $6 billion would be a steal, an absolute steal
Yeah,
for this.
yeah.
So I am actually supportive of making the offer. Once again, our Greenlander friends have to consent to it. And then I would be perfectly happy for them to join us in that case. However, like something to keep in mind, even then, is that that's not the full price tag, right? Because the point of this, there's multiple points for this. One, they say it's national defense. National defense being that we want to have more strategic outposts because again the Arctic is opening up, right? Travel through the Arctic is opening up in a way that it just wasn't true like throughout the rest of human history. Honestly, modern human history, it's been frozen. So now that it's opening up, the ability for China and Russia to use that pathway is going to open up, and that's going to be an issue in the future. But anyway, like what was said previously, we do have a base, maybe more than one. I would forget. But like I know we have at least one base in Greenland. And right now, the Denmark and the Greenlanders are saying, okay, if you want more bases, we'll give you more bases, right? We can negotiate that easy, right? And but secondly, right, the second problem is not national security, but is like exploiting their resources. But that their resources, they don't have the infrastructure. They currently don't have like Greenland itself doesn't have the infrastructure to exploit its weaknesses. There's a lot of the money under the ground, but they just don't have that. We would have to go in there and build it. So when we're saying 6 billion, well, that's the price of like getting the land. But like you buy land and then after that you have to build a house on it, right? Build something else. That's additional expense. That's what we'd have to do. Billions of dollars, and it wouldn't actually mature. We wouldn't actually get anything from that. And I use the term "we" loosely because corporations would get all the benefit, but we wouldn't get anything out of it for like a decade. So like there's a huge price tag that would go along with it. It might still be worth it, but like just like understand like the scope of the issue that we're dealing with.
Well, I guess if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So in that situation, if something were to happen, Russia and Putin just, goes really wacko, which I don't think he's that dumb. But I mean, when you think about it, one nuclear sub has 22 nuke warheads on it of ours, in case you didn't know that. When I hear things like that, and I know this is not a base, but what would you want to even, and they're the same way too, I'm sure. We're not going to, do nothing to him to try to take him out like they did the dude in Venezuela, right? I wish they would,
How about a scenario where Greenland doesn't consent, Denmark doesn't consent, and still Trump still goes in and does some type of military action on Greenland, just like he did on Venezuela. What would you think, Rocky?
There's nothing we can do. There's nothing they can do.
Well, there's a lot that they could do. They could like invoke Article 5 of NATO, and they could have other nations come to support them. They could start a war.
Who's gonna go up against the U.S., man? I mean,
The
come
entire
on, man.
globe. What are you talking about? Like what?
Well, bring them on.
What exactly? And this is what
Bring them
this
on.
is exactly.
I think Germany said something like similar to that at some point.
This is
One
it. Like,
submarine, 22 nuclear warheads on it.
what?
Are
Like what?
you
What is like? What is?
this? What else do they have? As far as power, nobody's gonna mess with that, dude.
Dude, this is what we're talking about, man. This is the might equals right mentality that existed World War II and before, with that wrecked
Yeah,
the entire
well,
world, where Europe was in wars for thousands of years.
and
Where
we've had that mentality since World War II. When,
no, we haven't.
when the
No, we
Big Bang went
haven't.
off, dude. The
No,
Big
we
Bang.
haven't.
Yes, we have. We've been building up our power slowly.
No, we
Boom,
haven't
boom,
actually.
boom.
Since the Cold War, we've actually been decommissioning our nukes, and we haven't been building up and building up.
Well, I don't know what the nuke count is, but when I hear something about
like
22,
it's like
22
5%
nukes,
of what it was at the height of the Cold War.
but is that true still today? I don't know.
They haven't been ramping up nuke production.
But I've heard this recently, maybe about 2 years ago. 22 nuclear warheads on one submarine. So,
dude, it's just scary to that just the glee in your voice when you're just like, let's bring them on, let's go. Like what are we? Why are we starting these wars, dude? You were just talking about how we have all these bases in all these countries and paying for that nonsense. And then now it's
that's the one thing I don't agree with, because that's the reason we come into conflicts, because they hate us because we're there. Well, then shut it down.
Wait, do you think starting war with the world will make them love you?
Exactly.
No, I'm not saying starting a war with a war, but if they want to do something to us, and
we're doing it to them. Dude, this is the problem with MAGA, with this Minneapolis thing, and now this. It's like who is the aggressor here? It
look at the two service members that got killed, or pew-pewed over there, and somewhere in Africa, was it? No, it was in Syria, right? So, why are we there? I don't understand that.
But we're there for the same reason that you're talking about, dude, that we are trying to exert force with might equals right, and we're trying to create some type of there's either diplomacy or some type of imperialist takeover of land resources.
Remember what the first Bush said, there's going to be a new world order, and this is what we're at today. This is what, the government is trying to push, regardless who's president. It doesn't matter.
No, dude, I don't accept that. I think that the if they were president.
Biden supported Ukraine for how many billions of dollars?
He's not invading other nations like Venezuela and Greenland.
How much billions of dollars did he support in 4 years for Ukraine? That's a lot of money he gave them.
Oh my God.
No, what do you mean? Oh my God, it's the truth. the president of Ukraine, man, he's been using us like a damn ATM machine.
Yes, trying to stop the annexation of Georgia and Crimea, and trying to and the annexation of Ukraine as a country. Yes, we were trying to do that with decommissioned old things. We weren't giving them cash money. We were giving them old. No, they weren't. It was military goods and stuff.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It still costs money. It costs money to ship it out there, doesn't it? How much does that cost?
How much does the Venezuela the excursion cost and into Greenland cost?
Well, I mean, right now we're at least, I don't know, man.
How much does ice cost? It went from $10 million
even
to the budget to $170
Trump is
billion.
still helping Ukraine. He's still throwing out money and dishing out something, for the war right now, right? I don't know what it is, but it sure ain't as much as Biden did. So, believe it or not. Okay. Well.
What are your thoughts, Prime? What are your thoughts?
I don't have much thoughts on this. I don't know. Yeah.
Do we want to move to what we were talking about in chat? and we can go through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So this week you can stay here, Rocky, if you wanted to talk about this. The new vaccine schedule that they adopted earlier this week, another world ago. So they're adopting their recommended. The CDC is mirroring the recommendations from Denmark. Now,
Wow. Well, what the hell does that mean?
That means, if I remember correctly, Denmark recommends childhood vaccinations against, I believe it was 10 diseases. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg.
I think 17 and 11, like, is what we were and now are doing. It's something like that.
Yeah.
But
Basically, it's revised downwards. As in the United States, it was like, I think 17. And then now they looked at, let's say, other countries, such as Denmark, and they saw that Denmark, they recommend vaccinations against, childhood vaccinations against 10 diseases. And so they're echoing that.
Okay.
And so
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just have the C19 vaccine. That's the only problem I have with.
Okay, but I do find it interesting that the United States appears to be taking vaccination guidelines from Denmark and other countries as well. I'm curious if they want to also adopt Denmark's healthcare system, since if they assume their health guidelines are good, then I have to assume that their healthcare system is also good.
You know what? I would take that. I would take the CDC recommendation being Denmark's vaccine schedule if we took their healthcare system as well. So how about we just do that? How that would be a great bipartisan agreement between
using
us,
Prime's words. I think that's a steal.
There you go.
100%.
What's that vaccine?
You would save money on your healthcare system, your healthcare bill, man. You would save a lot of money.
Yeah, well, for some people, yeah.
Would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with calling it? We could call it Trump Care. I would even give Trump a statue.
I know you won't.
I would. If he implemented single payer private provider, he could call it Trump Care, and he could do a statue too.
Oh, okay.
I think he would deserve credit for that.
Yeah, legitimately. Yeah. Just like how there's statues in Canada with the person that brought in single payer private provider.
So you're saying 10 vaccines for children at 11 years old?
No, the vaccination schedule I believe is different. Not at 11. The specific vaccine will be targeted to a specific age group.
JT, it's couch care.
Wow.
But why isn't that good enough? If the vaccine schedule is good enough, why isn't their healthcare good enough?
Wow.
It's like a hot dog in the bun. You know what I mean? You got to have both.
But, which vaccines you're talking about? The ones for polio and up, or what?
Well, it's whatever. I mean, it's whatever they recommend. I mean, this is the Trump's best people. The RFK's best people.
Because after all the people I work with in over 30 years, I've talked to many that they will never take the flu vaccine ever again because they took it and they got sick.
No, they did. Oh my God.
Yes, they did.
I don't know. I've had, I think over 20 flu vaccinations, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, that people don't have symptoms.
In this country than you have in the past 35 years. Dude, and that's a fact.
They don't get sick, dude. They don't get sick.
Yes, they did.
No, they don't. Your body is presented with a punching bag, okay, that they're training for a bout, okay, a bout with something, and your body, in order to work out and train for that competition, it works out on the bag, and it does a workout on that punching bag. But that doesn't mean just because you sweat and you're tired doesn't mean it's the same as that competition. And it's the same way. Your body is training to fight an actual virus, but that doesn't mean that it's an actual virus because it doesn't replicate in your body.
What is in a flu vaccine anyway that would make this person sick?
It's an inactivated virus. It's an inactivated virus.
Oh, wait. Actually, wait. I just want to engage with this because are you saying that no medical therapy can make a person sick or feel bad?
no medical authority can make a person sick.
That's true. That's a good point.
And
Well, I
now,
would ask you, like, what's happening with
no,
chemotherapy and certain
I'm just
chemotherapy?
saying everybody's different. Okay, some people need
I
it.
agree with that assessment.
I agree with the elderly people. Okay, and it's a good thing because your immune system changes from 40, 50, 60 years old. Then when you get to 80, yes, okay, but
It's
I'm
so
just saying.
arbitrary. It's so
I'm just saying.
arbitrary.
It is,
Like,
but
Man,
so,
you know my
but
most
so,
routine. I
most
told you
people
my
lose
routine.
most people
Wow.
lose their life as an infant, dude. That is the childhood mortality. Is the vaccines save 5 million lives a
Okay,
year,
well,
4
I
million
forgot
of
to
which are
include them.
kids.
You
Just
got to
letting
go
you know.
back down. Yes, okay, fine. But when they get older, if you have when you're 11 to 17 years old, you say they're still having to take it.
Yes. I mean, in my opinion, yes.
Why? If it's going to make you sick.
well, no, but even if I grant you that it makes you, and we're not exactly using the greatest language here. Like, what does it mean to be sick? Okay, I can grant you that the flu vaccine can result in certain side effects, maybe like flu-like symptoms. But
Why
that,
is
as Greg pointed out, that is different than the
it?
flu. But then
Because
then I would
I
ask you, why is that bad? Are you saying that every therapy has to be side effect free?
well, you know,
Corey's saying, like, in order to have a heart transplant, would you be okay with someone stabbing you? Obviously not. But in the context of a heart surgery, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to be cut open. So
True.
you are being hurt. You are being hurt in the medical procedure.
I'm just saying it's just everybody's got their own routine, and I have mine. And you know, some people drink beer every day. Some people, you know, don't take care of their body. I've been doing that most of my life. And I know going to the gym every month, at least 2 or 3 times, keeping up with my vitamin C, and I'm feeling just fine today. I'm just saying.
So okay, well that doesn't mean anything for
So not
anything else, right? So that's not how we would design a healthcare policy. That
Especially
this
like
one
a
person on
public
the
healthcare
internet,
policy or like
yeah,
guidelines
public
for the
healthcare
public.
policy. This one person on the internet, like he went to the gym a bunch and he feels fine. All right, so but back to this. So for everyone else, right? Like why is this an issue? So like our friend Corey and Greg were touching on this previously, but talking about the Danish healthcare, or sorry, Danish healthcare system. It's very different from our own, in that it's better, significantly better, and this has material impacts. They can vaccinate for less diseases. Not the reason why they do it is not because they don't think the vaccines are safe, right? And so they're trying to avoid that. It's that they can literally afford not to. They have a healthcare system that everyone can access, that they can get high quality care. And so when they present these diseases, they can make sure they get in front of a medical professional that can assist them. And they have things like a year of paid family leave, like parental leave. What that means is that like parents are at home with their kids, right? Meaning their kids are less likely to be exposed to various diseases. So their parents aren't coming in and out like from a busy dirty work environment, right? Where they're like coming across all these pathogens and then bring it home to their child, which their child would have to deal with. Like a lot of that gets eliminated because they just have a better system there, right? A more caring system, honestly. And so they can afford not to. But that doesn't mean, of course, these kids are immune to these diseases. Obviously, sometimes they do get struck by these things. But again, they get to go to a doctor quite easily, and also they're easier. They have a better system to track the health because everyone is so closely tied with the healthcare system. They can track the health of the population, and when outbreaks happen, they can more easily trace and deal with them. That's why they can have such a leaner vaccine schedule. In America, we have massive gaps in healthcare. So many people are uninsured. So many people, even if they are insured, their healthcare costs are so high that they avoid the hospital altogether, right? And so when they're sick, they show up to work, right? They go to school. They do all those things where they know they shouldn't, right? But they gotta, right? They don't have the ability. They don't have ability to stay home from work. They don't have um what was it? Like a whole list of sick days, like a lot of sick days that are mandated by the government. That doesn't exist. They got to go to work to survive. And so they're going to spread their disease to other people very quickly, but also they can get in contact, like encounter more diseases and take that home to their children. And so because we don't have this this care, this like what they call continuity of care across the U.S. There's these big gaps. We can't take those risks. So the one way we patch that up is by having a larger vaccine schedule. So yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, after the C-19 started, I never heard of shingles vaccine.
That's
So
just
why was that?
somewhat new, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Is shingles something new?
It's like it's been around for like no, it's not new. But
Yeah, the shingles
like the vaccine has been
disease
around
is
for like a decade or it was 2 decades, maybe something. I could look it up, but like
How
the
long?
shing.
Because
I mean, it's like it's not new. Whatever it is, I can assure you, it's not new.
well,
Um,
I pay attention to, I watch the news, and now they have commercials about it, right, on TV. Shingles, right?
they had them for
Yeah.
years, long
And I
time.
never seen those before
Okay,
seeing.
well, that
Oh,
doesn't
wait,
mean anything.
I'm sure. I'm just curious of your argument. Like, you know,
And I had a doctor
have you heard of like
take
Ozempic
that shot.
30 years ago or 20
Nope,
years ago?
sorry. You're gonna fool me? You're gonna give me the C-19 vaccine? No, thanks. See, that's what I had in my mind. No, you're not gonna fool me that way.
What are you talking
I'm
about?
not
Boy,
saying
like,
I wanted to do that, but he did ask me one time, "You want to take the shingles vaccine?" Nah, no thanks. So
boy, sorry, are you saying like all the people on Ozempic, they should not be on Ozempic because it wasn't around 25 years ago?
no, I was talking about just shingles.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
like, but at least from what I understood of your argument, it's like I haven't heard of this
know.
before, so therefore I should not take it. But like,
He thinks C-19 created a whole profit motive for new vaccines to come out in order for us to get a monthly subscription.
Just
interesting.
taking the vaccine, yeah. And many people have unalived from the vaccine. So
No, that's not true. That is not true.
yes, they have.
No,
Yes,
it's
they
not,
have.
Margie. No, it's not.
Well, I'll get in trouble for disagreeing with you. You know how that goes. Come on, man.
Well, do you have anything to point to or like source or reference to back up that
Well,
claim?
I got at least 2 friends on Facebook. One.
Boy, so
her,
you know,
her daughter,
my
her
my
daughter
grandfather like smoked
passed
and
away after
drank
she took the
for
vaccine.
decades.
Her daughter was 17. She took the vaccine, and she passed away.
Okay.
That's just one. So
Sorry for your loss.
well, it's not my loss. It's just somebody I know on Facebook.
I thought you said your daughter. Well, then I apologize.
No. I mean, she posts video of her daughter in the hospital, and
Okay.
after she took the vaccine, she just looked so horrific. It's like, oh, she was turning purple. She was turning purple and just looked, oh man.
So to be clear, the shingles vaccine was first invented in 1995, right? Just so you know, like the original shingles vaccine was in 1995. Is what I'm seeing here, but it was discontinued in 2020 because a more effective vaccine came out, and like 2017, this second vaccine in the U.S. was discontinued. Came out and it won federal FDA approval in 2021. But we were seeing commercials for the shingle vaccines for many years. So like even though you didn't hear about it, it still existed, right?
Yeah. So
There's in some like plot, right? Like a newfangled plot. This is just.
I'm just curious if a doctor told you that you had a bacterial infection and they gave the name of the bacteria and you never heard of it, you would like reject the antibiotics? I'm sure Greg could come up with many names for bacteria that you have never heard of.
Antibiotic. I had a root canal about 6 years ago. I didn't have a problem with the antibiotic there. So
But that doesn't answer my question, though. Of like,
Well,
if a doctor said you are infected with this bacteria that you have never heard of, you would say, I've never heard of it, so don't give me the antibiotics?
oh no, I would take an antibiotic.
But why? But you haven't heard of the bacteria, though.
Well, as long as it doesn't have to do with C19, anything that's
Oh, okay.
affiliated with that.
Fair.
Nope.
As long as you're aware of the inconsistency.
No, it's just
Um,
I'm just saying it's just been a bad 5-6 years. As far
I
as
agree, largely driven by anti-vaxxers.
yeah, but y'all need to remember that nothing just happens with this government. Everything is planned. Okay. I don't know if you ever heard that it's an old adage. And this is what's going on today.
Wait, is the economy of the United States economy planned?
No, this is just I'm talking about the wars. I'm talking
Oh no, you said if I heard you correctly, you said everything is planned. Does everything include the economy?
It has to do with dirty money. That's what it
Okay,
has to do.
so that does have something to do with the economy, or can you clarify what you mean? Are you saying the United States is a planned economy?
Well, look at the national debt we're in.
So is that a yes or a no? Is that
Well, maybe 50-50, but no, I'm just saying before 9/11.
so not everything is planned then? You want to revise the record?
No, but before 9/11, we were only $7 trillion in debt. So look where we're at today.
Okay.
yeah, and afterwards we went through massive, expensive foreign wars, right? So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so super chat on my end. Thank you, my listening library. Thank you, my listening library, for the $2. It says, "How dare you all care about other people's health?" That's really kind of you. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. This seems it's weird, right? Like it's weird how we have to battle on these grounds. I mean, this is why we created this show in the first place. Is one of the reasons was to talk about and this is a fight that needs to happen because a ton of misinformation comes out and like just strange thinking. I'm sorry, was it Rocky, the individual here? Yeah, like this is like strange behavior. Like, first of all, talking about like your own health, right? Like, hey, I work out and take care of my body, and so things have worked out for me. So just saying, how is that useful in the conversation talking about public health? That has nothing to do with anything, right? So first of all, I'm happy that you are in good shape, right? And I hope that continues to be the case. But that has nothing to do with a discussion of public health. That gives us new information. You understand that, right?
I'm just trying to give you an example how you can change your life and stop, doing certain things in your life.
What certain things?
Some people just drink beer every day and they smoke.
Okay. Have a healthier lifestyle. Do you think anyone here would disagree with that? Right? Do you think that would be a useful thing for anyone here? Dr. Greg, right? Would you recommend that people smoke and drink excessive amounts of alcohol?
No.
No. Okay, Corey, would you recommend that people smoke or drink excessive amounts of alcohol?
No.
Me either. Okay, great. We're all on the same page. So we can move past that. And I imagine they would all back people exercising, right? But I'm not so sure. But still, okay. So we're all on the same page here. How is that? So what else do you have which is useful when discussing public health?
I don't know, man. It's up to the individual, your motivation.
But
if you don't have the motivation,
is public, dude. It's not individuals. It's not an individual choice.
What do you mean? So the person who just goes to an office job and sits on his ass, goes home and sits on his ass 7 days a week. Do you think that's healthy?
Nobody's saying it. Well, okay, I'm just curious. You're saying it's all individual. So you have no problem. You would.
I never have lived that lifestyle.
Okay, sure. Okay,
Could
great.
not
Good.
do that lifestyle. No
I'm
way.
glad. But then, are you saying from a public health perspective, it's all individual, and someone with tuberculosis, they can just go to the movies whenever they want?
No. If you have a disability, I understand.
That's not a disability. That's an. I mean, I get you can argue it's a disability, but like let's just say It's a transmissible disability.
Well, some people have other disabilities. Yeah, I mean, they
Okay,
might have.
so well, wait. If it's all individual, so are you saying someone with tuberculosis should go to the movie theaters and cough up a storm? That's okay for you?
TB. Shit. What happens with TB? I don't even remember.
That is a very infectious
or
lung.
or polio or any of these things.
Does that debilitate your muscles or something? Is that like no?
Polio will eventually affect.
Polio, yeah.
But like,
polio.
so I'll ask the question, although I think I know the answer. Are you familiar with the case of like does Typhoid Mary ring a bell to you, or is that familiar at all to you?
Yeah, I've heard that before. Typhoid, yeah, I've heard of typhoid.
Okay, but like, so when someone has something that's very infectious and potentially like there's a high lethality, should they just be allowed in public, like to wherever they want?
What do you mean is that just an example, or is that?
Yeah, well, no, Typhoid Mary's. I encourage you to look up. It's a specific example of like this person was going around spreading typhoid. Okay, and like they were pretty much explicitly.
Has that ever happened? I don't never heard of that.
Yes, that's the case.
Typhoid
Yes.
Mary is one of the most famous cases of a failure of public health, right? Like, in fact, a lot of our public health regulations came out of this like one incident. This woman, she was working as a domestic worker in various places, in various households, and various organizations, right? She was doing food preparation, if I'm remembering the story correctly, and she was spreading like typhoid. There were like these massive outbreaks of typhoid. People didn't understand, right? Until yeah, let's consider moving on until other people like finally like realized this one individual was doing it, right? They just followed her. She just kept going around, if I'm remembering the story correctly, and I could be wrong, and maybe someone here can correct me, right? Like that like I think she was confronted about this and then like continued to like do what she was doing afterwards, spreading typhoid. Again, I don't remember the story like exactly, so if I'm wrong about that, I do apologize. The point is that she was a super spreader, right? She's one of the most famous cases of a super spreader, and so from there, like we have to alter our public health regime. We understand that like the public isn't equipped to deal with these problems, right? Like how would an individual in the household, right, in a household that has been exposed to typhoid Mary, right? How would the individuals working there or living there, how would they have understood that another individual was the cause of the problem, right? How would they have known? They can't see it being transmitted, right? You yourself, you have been there. No matter how often you worked out, no matter how well you ate, no matter how much you avoided vices, right? You'd still get typhoid. That's a public health crisis. That's why it takes like a group societal effort to deal with these things.
Well, thankfully it hasn't happened because I don't know.
Well, no, it did happen.
Typhoid Mary did happen.
This is a real case. A real person.
He's saying that to him. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, so typhoid Mary, they were quarantined. Are you saying that they should not have quarantined this person who was going around and I believe I'm looking at to refresh my memory, but they were pretty much confirmed to have infected at least 51 to 122 people. Okay. That's okay for you?
No, well, no, but was it something that just affected the world? Did it affect the whole world?
It didn't affect the whole world. Let me be clear, right? The thing that what will change your decision is whether one person managed to spread a virus to affect the whole world. That would be the thing that changes your mind.
I remember Ebola. That happened in Dallas, Texas, when I was living.
Oh my God! Can we move on? Let's move on. Let's move on, please. There are other people in line. Let's just move on.
I'm just saying.
Thank you for coming up, brother. We have two other people.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Go. Thank you, man.
All right, go ahead.
You coming up.
Later.
Amen. Okay, Eugene Vilkovitsky.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, Eugene, how's it going, man?
Oh, hi. Hello.
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 I don't know. I have.
Did they cut out for anybody else?
There,
Yeah.
You guys
Hello?
start
Go ahead.
talked a little bit about the Ukraine.
Mhm.
I just wanted to know, what do you think about Ukraine standing still 4 years of, tortures war, and they still standing? What do you think about that?
I support them and their perseverance.
Yeah, yeah. I am not in favor of the Russian military effort. Um, I'm not necessarily in favor of the Ukrainian government. I have a friend of mine who's convinced me that like what was happening in the eastern part of the country might have been quite unfair to some of the residents living there. But still, I absolutely do not support Russia's invasion of the territory and the horrors they unleashed over the past three going on 4 years. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Don't you think that, maybe if Ukraine, God forbid, falls, that nuclear war is inevitable?
Not necessarily. I
Yeah,
think
that
it
seems.
ups the the the, the chances,
There's
but
a risk of
inevitable? No.
escalation.
Why would it be inevitable?
Well, that because, for example, Putin, I believe he will not stop. He will go further.
As in,
And
like, continue if you want to finish your point.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just saying he will not stop on just Ukraine. He will continue go west and take other countries.
And when you say other countries, just to clarify, like, are you potentially saying like
The Baltic.
NATO countries are?
Yes, NATO countries. Yes, that's
Oh,
what I believe.
okay. I mean, I agree that's potential possibility, and I agree the taking
Right.
of Ukraine ups that possibility. But I don't know that I would put it as an inevitability.
And imagine what happens if Ukrainian government will fall and all the Ukrainians will end up in just nowhere. What's going to happen to them? It's roughly 35 million people there.
What do you mean nowhere?
What's going to happen to those people, because the government already, there's no more Ukraine, for example, and 35 million people, what's going to happen to them?
Well, I imagine it'd be similar to what happened to the USSR, and they would be absorbed as a vassal state into the entire nation. To be clear, I don't think that Putin has stated he necessarily wants to take the entire country. I mean, because that's a big undertaking, and I mean they've been proven again and again they don't really have the resources to do that. Not saying it's impossible, right? And things change, obviously. In any case, even then, as far as I know, and hopefully I'm not incorrect here, he doesn't want to ethnically cleanse the entire Ukrainian population. And so, yeah, it would just be, under Russia, unfortunately.
Yeah. Have you heard about Bucha?
A
It
bit.
happened
But
just
are you talking about is there like a slaughter there?
No, the little town in Ukraine by capital named Bucha.
Sorry.
What happened to those people that got occupied? Does that the Russian army went to that town and occupied for a little bit, and what happened to those civilians in that city? Do you know what happened to them?
They were killed?
They've been tortured to death.
Okay, so yeah, they were slaughtered. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah, the Russians have engaged in awful war crimes. Again, this is why I'm in favor of fighting the Russians. I don't think anyone here
That
in favor of fighting
is not going to kill the rest of Ukrainian nation. I don't think so. He's going to kill everybody.
Yeah, we agree, man. We agree. We're looking for opposition right now. So thank you, Eugene. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you. We support
Thank you.
Yeah, we support the war effort.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Be well.
All right. Tren Vaj.
Trent. Are they on trend?
Oh, Tren Vogue. Tren Vogue. Hi, Tren. How's it going?
Welcome.
Might be a misclick.
Testing, testing.
Going
Testing.
3,
Hello?
2, 1. It's okay. It might have been a misclick. No problem. Oh, Trans Alien. We had another one that just popped out. All right. Well, we're still requesting anyone that's here that is pro MAGA, pro ICE in regards to what's happened this week, or has any questions on vaccines and science and all that kind of stuff. I saw some people in chat that were talking about that, so I'll try to request them. But let's see. I just want to say there are some states that, in response to what happened this week, they have been already thinking about this. Oh, Trans Alien wants to come in. And trying to pass legislation that actually allows you to not go by the CDC recommendations in regards to what the insurance covers. They actually they're trying to bolster the vaccine access by allowing the AMA and the AAP and other medical groups to actually use those recommendations for insurance companies too. So so the CDC recommendation really just is a recommendation, not a requirement. And I think that is awesome. That is what that is good. That's what's happening at the state level, I feel like.
So in terms of that, and I haven't done research into this. Maybe you guys have clarity on this, maybe you don't. But in terms of for insurance, is this one of those situations where there are insurance plans that cover the CDC schedule? So it's possible that if you narrow the schedule, they won't cover as much, even if they still for instance, even if it's still available, right? And at some sort of reduced cost, they don't necessarily either cover it or they won't initially have it offered without special authorization, which then puts another barrier between a person actually
That is my
getting
understanding. Yes,
Exactly.
based off of my reading.
Yeah, and we've been contacting and calling and emailing Pennsylvania state senators because we were asked in December by a physician congressperson, state congressperson there, that he wrote a bill and that he's trying to get it passed through the Pennsylvania Senate right now, state Senate. So, and I think it's a really interesting, amazing test case because Pennsylvania is a battleground state too. So if we can actually get this passed, vaccine access expanded in a battleground state, it's going to be really, really good for other blue states, obviously, but then also other battleground states too. I feel like.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just again, fantastic work. To Dr. Greg and his audience for doing these projects. You're actually making a huge difference. So please support Dr. Greg in any way that you can, and support the effort.
Thank you, man. Absolutely. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Oh, the food pyramid. The food pyramid that was inverted this week.
The inverted pyramid then. And then when you go look at the actual recommendations, there's no real pyramid, or I don't know how it relates to the pyramid.
You guys help me out here. This one I didn't heard of.
So in 1992, Food Pyramid comes out, obviously, and it's the portion size of what you should have, and then in regards to being the most being grains and carbs, and then veg, and then meats, and then saturated fats on top of that. Actually, in what was changed was this is part of Michelle Obama's reforms and what she tried to spearhead was My Plate. So My Plate came out in order to actually change this. I do, Craig, in 2011, I think. And it is actually just showed a plate and portion control on what you should have on your plate in regards to that. And it's super easy. You should have whatever, the plate, your ideal kind of plate. And now for some reason they have gone back to the food pyramid and made it so that you have too much of the bad fats, and it's just very confusing to look at. It's not, you can't picture it right? For like on your plate, like what do I have in a kind of a meal? And then on top of that, it's just very confusing. Like why is this pyramid upside down? And then they literally, is it AI generated? I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Probably. I mean,
Mm.
the figure for the pyramid is like, I don't know. It seems like really outdated or like really poor quality. I'm gonna put a screenshot in our Discord
Yeah.
chat so you can see it.
Please, thank you. I was going to
And
ask.
one of the physicians that I follow was like talking about this, how like they used and stole like the exact language. They were like, for the first time, we are recommending whole nutritious foods. And it's like
What?
showed the actual like the already like the website, and it was like literal word by word whole nutritious foods everywhere, and it gave examples of what to eat, what what you should be eating, and how much, and it's just it's so
So
fascinating.
so I'm looking at this thing. This is my first time encountering this. I didn't see any articles or anything about this. So, like I'm I'm actually not sure like the problem here, right? So like, is it saying, or maybe it's because I'm just misreading it, so I
Well,
don't
no.
understand,
So
right?
there's
Like,
nothing like, well, I would say there's nothing super like egregious.
okay,
But like, let's say at the top, as you can see in the top of the pyramid, they
mhm,
have steak, and cheese and whole milk.
mhm,
And so when you look in the guidelines now, so they're also they make, there's a specific paragraph of like, they're pretty much, to paraphrase, okay, they're pretty much saying like, the war on saturated fats is over, and so now you can have butter, whole milk, and red meat and cheese. Okay, and
okay,
that's one of the reasons why it's at the top of the pyramid. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
but then as you can see, whole grains are at the bottom of the pyramid, and typically how
mhm,
most I would say most people how interpret this is like, well, given that the whole grains at the bottom, that's the smallest section, that means that should be like your lowest amount of servings. But then when you go in the
mm,
guidelines, if I remember correctly, like when they say like what are the recommended amount of servings of whole grain that you should get per day, I believe they give the range of 2 to 4. But then for like the red meat or the dairy, they say it's like 2 to 3. And so it's like, it's not really that it has no relationship to the pyramid, or at least the size or scale of the pyramid.
mm.
I see this, and whoever made this or allowed this or put in the foods that are examples here, like just obviously doesn't eat vegetables. That's what that's what I see. I see like what is like the like iceberg lettuce is like the only I don't know. It just seems insane. Like the carrots and broccoli, canned green beans, like it's just, and then a bunch of fruit. It just doesn't have like a lot of like really good vegetables, and it just seems like they're really taking I don't know. It
You're
just
gonna have to help me out here. I don't like because when I don't eat a lot of vegetables, so there you go, right? I'm one of those problem people. So, but help me out here. Like carrots and lettuce, those are good things, right?
it,
Um,
like as someone said in chat, the iceberg lettuce is basically like cellulose and water. There's like zero nutritional value to it at all. The broccoli is
okay,
good. Frozen peas and canned green beans. I mean, they're good. Like they're good to eat if you want to eat that, but it's not necessarily like what a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like Brussels sprouts, things like that, where it's like you can really make them nice, and you can actually um you know,
but
you
I
can.
mean, frozen peas are a common food stuff, right? And so are string beans. Like these are common things that people eat. Um, so I mean, I don't necessarily see the issue other than like maybe like whole grains appears to be something that you want to avoid, right? Like I can maybe see someone like making that error here. This just seems like a bunch of clip art food put on here, but like nothing bad. Just
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree. Nothing egregious, but just the way
no.
that like, but that's the way it doesn't need to be designed as a pyramid, because it's not. Or at least
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's poor messaging. And but what is, let's say, the most anti-science? Okay, and I would say the data are pretty clear in terms of like this aspect of saturated fat. Okay, where because they explicitly say now in the guidelines, there's like especially with the dairy recommendations, I believe they recommend 2 to 3 servings of dairy, and I believe they explicitly say in the guidelines that like, if you're going to have milk, have whole milk. And I would say I would, encourage you, to I guess talk to an actual dietitian. Like I would say, any credible dietitian would say that if it's a choice between whole milk or let's say skim milk or 1%, like you get pretty much all the important nutritional value from skim milk. The only difference is like you're not getting this dose of saturated fat from whole milk, which has a huge correlation or strong association with heart disease, cardiovascular disease, whatever, stroke, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for me, I've actually been meaning to make a video about this, but like my friend made a video like with her ready to go, good macros meal that you just need to like if you need it, you can get it. Dude, I have been on this tin fish thing. It's been absolutely amazing. Like you can have like fillets of sardines or mackerels, and you just like they have tons and tons of different types of spices. You can really get whatever you want. So it's like room temperature, awesome fish. I get fish wife. Yeah, I got fish wife for my wife got me fish wife for for my present for my Christmas present, and then so that's like your protein, right? And then I got we have this seaweed salad stuff, which is like a delicacy in my mind. I freaking love that stuff. I love to get it at sushi restaurants. So we got that. So I eat that, and then I have like crackers. I'll just put like a little cracker, put the fish on the cracker, and then eat some like seaweed salad, and boom, I got like a really good. I got my fiber from the seaweed salad. I got the protein. I got the omega-3s. I got the carbs from the crackers. That kind of stuff. I love that stuff.
I have no problem saying, nah, this is not related to the topic. I hate seafood.
Okay, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I've like I especially like they have like smoked mussels and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like a delicacy. I'm just like I feel excited to eat it, and it fills me up. I think that's the biggest thing. Now, genuinely, like they did revise the protein guidelines, which is like 1.5. I do feel like the protein guidelines was a little low. Just because not because of like what you need in order to survive, but like protein helps you feel more satiated for me. Like I eat protein and I actually have like, I don't need to snack afterwards as much and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I do recommend like I personally do, eat. That's how I eat it. So I eat like 100 and I weigh 180 pounds, so I have like about 170, 180 grams of protein a day. And then everything else kind of falls in line from there. So that's how I align, and that's how I eat every day.
But yeah, like, do I view this as like the worst thing in the world? No. But I would say, again, going back to the overall poor messaging, and yeah, it has the fact that it's a inverted pyramid just seems to be meaningless when you go into look into the actual recommended servings per day. And again, just the
It feels like changing the pyramid just to change like the pyramid. I mean, well, first of all, it doesn't have to be in a pyramid format like Michelle Obama was like, right? Like it doesn't have to necessarily be within that format. But like they just kind of just inverted it for like no particular reason. Like
they tried to erase what Michelle Obama did, and they went back to the pyramid, and then they just inverted it. Literally, that's
to show that they did something.
It's really.
But yeah, but then for sure, like this aspect, pretty much the most egregious for me is this saturated fat aspect, and yeah, their emphasis on full fat dairy. That's it.
We have another person that's just joined. So, okay, Jackson Peterson, how's it going, man? I muted you because your mic was like loud, but
any relation to Peter Jackson, or just? But welcome.
You can unmute and let's see here.
Testing.
What's
Hello?
up, man?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
What's going on, man?
What's up?
Nothing much. Just wanted to peek in and maybe say something.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what side are you? Are you Republican or Democratic?
I'm Canadian.
I'm a leftist.
We're against billionaires, dude. We're against billionaires.
Okay, so well then let's talk about something else. What do you guys think about the Mexican border? Do you think we should have this Mexican border or no?
So what do you think about the Canadian border?
I think we should keep Canadians
Are you getting
out.
talking points from a third party?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Sorry, my associate over here is trying to talk about the Canadian border.
All right, he's obviously a child. Okay.
Yes, we should have a Mexican border, sure.
And a
Yeah.
Canadian one.
Yeah, I think that it's like, it's so. I mean, the problem with the immigration system isn't the borders. People that are focusing on the borders are lying to you. It's the process that people are taking 20 years in order to get their stuff done. It's embarrassing. That's the problem.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Guest.
Oh, I kicked him. We can't. He's obviously a child, so we can't have.
Oh, we can't have. Okay, sorry. I
So,
didn't know
yeah.
that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, trans alien. All right, I'll invite you up. He wants to come in. All right, we'll try this guy again.
Oh, was that the guy that was, or person that was dead air before?
Yeah.
Let's see if they can figure it out.
It's like, it's such a, dude. I don't know, the people that talk about the Mexico border don't realize how close and how assimilated our economies are. San Diego and TJ are like inextricably linked, and it happens all across the border. So the idea that we should have this like military state where we never let these guys in, I mean, it's just wild. Like, even if you didn't want immigration, okay, these borders are huge for ports of entry. Like, things get made in Mexico and then they get driven up on semis, for example. So, I mean, it's just again, it's so, like, why can't we just like actually understand and live in a real world, as opposed to this fake world that we are post hoc rationalizing because Trump said a crazy thing once about, build a wall, and now that we have to like make ourselves contort in order to say this nonsense.
Agreed.
Yeah, exactly, Bobby. We have such a rich Hispanic culture in San Diego and California too. California's constitution was actually written in Spanish too. It was written in English and in Spanish. So like, we have like a deep history of integrating them, obviously because of the war and taking their land too, obviously. But we appreciate and love that culture as well. Hey, Aeronautical.
So did the person who wanted to come up, do you know if they...
He didn't. Sorry, no, he didn't. Sometimes like you invite these guys in the MAGA in chat and they bounce. It's about the substances coming across the border. Ruben, yeah, I understand that. I mean, a lot of it is actually shipped in through like mail, so it doesn't necessarily even come through the border. That's another like lie that people say, like, from the algorithms, man. I mean, I trans alien, I literally invited you, bro.
But I also want to, so this talking point of, it's about the drugs, which I, there's some credence to that argument, but I also want to reframe it of like, there's also the fact that there's a huge demand for these drugs in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, but like, it seems like the United States doesn't want to maybe ask the question of why is there such a high demand for these types of drugs in the United States? And they just want to, I don't think you can put all the blame on other countries when you have a significant portion of your population let's say, that strongly desire these drugs for a variety of reasons that are complex, but the
And
demand is clearly there.
by the way, and for the labor too. It's crazy. I mean, you could literally end and make people self-deport by making it illegal to hire an illegal immigrant, right? Like, so someone that doesn't have proper papers, it would make them, which is the term that is what those people are. If you made it illegal to hire these people, then they would leave. They would not they wouldn't want to be here. But the reason that we don't do that and the politicians don't do that is because they want to exploit these people and they want the cheap labor, and that's just what it is. So they don't. Instead, they demonize these people and with xenophobic rhetoric and try to cause harm to them. Ultimately, it's disgusting. Okay, trans alien now. So I guess
are they there?
okay, we're gonna see if he but he's loading right now, so we'll see if he actually joins.
Okay. Keeping us in suspense, this individual. Hope they have
Third
something
time's the charm,
interesting
or
to say.
fourth. I've lost
Yeah.
track.
Yeah. Are you there?
Oh, he's coming. He's loading right now. Loading. Oh, okay. So Brendan's saying MAGA. MAGA in chat if you're a MAGA, guys. We'll invite this guy. See if we got 2 invites out for both of them. We'll see if it goes out.
Okay, yeah. But I think just on the RFK thing that I doubt 2026 will be any better than what 2025 has been. There was a Republican, I forget who it was, who, or maybe it was, sorry, it might actually have been a Democrat. Anyway, a lawmaker was talking about how they regret voting to confirm RFK Jr. And this was all like foreseeable. Like his behavior is foreseeable. People warned about him, and then lawmakers voted him any which way, right? Like this conspiracy theorists, where I guess it's since I'm very much internet brained and I'm ensconced in all this. Like I was familiar with RFK Jr. unfortunately, but it's possible that many people aren't. Even that, if that's the case, still, I mean, like it would be a failure on this lawmaker's part because I mean you're voting to confirm this individual because you're not doing any research on them, and I think a lot of our lawmakers generally don't do research. I think they get paid a lot of money. I think they have a huge amount of staff. I think a lot of them actually don't research the bills that they vote for, or the individuals that they confirm or anything like that. I think that a lot of them are just like sitting up there collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, dude, it's the Susan Collins syndrome where it's like, you better not, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh my, they did it, and you're like, wow, nobody could have seen this coming. I wonder if it is Bill Cassidy because he is the physician, and he's actually a liver physician. He specializes in the liver, and a lot of the vaccines that he is that's getting rescinded are target the liver disease. So he's like specifically involved in, and it's such a joke. And his whole contingent thing was like, you better not infringe on any vaccine access, and legitimately good, legitimately like sound science for vaccine. You better not. And RFK was like, no, dude, we want the best vaccines. We want the best, like most sound vaccines. Obviously, everyone knew that was an impossible standard, right? Everyone understood that, except for Bill Cassidy. That's like, and it's like the abortion clinics, right? Where it's like they need to have 15-foot wide hallways, where it's like they're never going to be able to have that. They never going to be able to have the stringent guidelines that are being put into it. So these Republican lawmakers fake it and say, oh, it's for patient safety. It's for we care about the patients, and these are egregious things. It's in the same way. It's concern trolling, right? Where they say, oh, I'm actually pro-vaccine. RFK is like, I actually want the best vaccines, but they're restricting access as we've seen by changing the recommendation. But hopefully, honestly, hopefully it does inspire a lot of these states to actually pass these bills to actually kind of get out of the CDC. And it's sad. I mean, the CDC is really only a recommendation. It's not a mandate. It's not a requirement. And it is doublespeak. Exactly.
Anyone else coming in?
No, there's nothing in the queue. I tried to invite them and they didn't come up.
Okay.
Well,
I might have to end things around here. Got other things I'm up to.
Likewise.
But yeah, this was an excellent discussion. I was happy
As always.
to. Yeah. A really good talk. Glad these individuals, the ones who did make it up here and speak to us, thought you guys did a great job, and it was fun talking to them all. Everyone, come consider following me at Twitch.
Can you put your to say something in chat so I can pin your comment?
My phone is just not operating. That's why I couldn't join in on the call thing, because my phone is just not cooperating.
Oh, okay.
But Twitch, YouTube, Kick, and TikTok, Prime Kai, PRIMECAYES. Love to have you. I do debates, and I debate others. We have group debates, and it's a whole lot of fun. And we have conservatives there, right? And we have our friend Corey there as well on a regular basis. So come check me out if you enjoy what I said, or I infuriate you in some way. I'd love to have you.
Okay. Yeah, guys, follow Prime, please, so you can host some awesome debates on TikTok. Go, Corey.
Yeah, I'm Corey Campbell. As always, a pleasure to be here. And you can find me on Twitch, Corey Campbell 84, Twitter /X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Substack, all at It's Corey Campbell. It's only really the Twitch that's different. And yeah, looking forward to next week, and hopefully, MAGA is less shy next week.
Dude, last night they couldn't come in and defend themselves either, man. It's wild. I think they don't feel like they need to defend themselves, and it's indefensible, so they're hiding.
Well, to be fair, pretty much what MAGA is doing is indefensible, so I don't blame them
exactly
for being cowards.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you staying up. They're the East Coast guys, so thank you for staying up. I appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
Take care.
absolutely.
Be well. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. One second. Okay. So yeah, that was great as usual. Thank you everyone for stopping by. Bokkel, Mitch, Orange Hue, and I probably forgot someone in the beginning. Yes, Roshan. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this evening. I should be back next Friday. Pretty much the intention is for this to be a weekly show where we talk about things that are, well, going on in both MAGA world, but MAHA world as well, and hopefully with a little bit more focus on the MAHA movement, but we go all over the place, as you can see. And then I also should be back, or at least as some people saw on Katie's stream, we should be in the process of organizing, well, not a show, but actually more of a, lecture on the stream. But yeah, all that to say, thank you for tuning in. Should be back same time next week, and until then, take care and be well.